Hey guys, welcome back to Distinct Mastering. If you're new here, my channel is all about helping music producers level up their skills. But today I want to talk about something deeper, something that affects every music producer out there. Whether you're just starting out or you've been in the game for years, I'm talking about resistance. And this idea of resistance comes from one of my favorite books, The War of Art by Pressfield. Now, if you haven't read it, this book isn't just for artists, this is for anyone who creates. And that includes us as music producers. So what exactly is resistance? According to Pressfield, it's an invisible force that keeps us from doing the work. You know those moments when you feel like you should be in the studio working on that track, but suddenly you find yourself doing anything but that? Scrolling through Instagram, watching Netflix, cleaning your room. Suddenly, even that feels urgent, right? That's resistance. It's sneaky. It doesn't come out and tell you, hey, don't work on music today. Instead, it shows up as procrastination, self-doubt, and perfectionism. Anything that stops you from sitting down at your DAW and just creating. It's the thing that tells you you're not ready yet, or what if no one likes this track? And here's the crazy part. Resistance never goes away. It's always there, trying to stop you from making progress, from finishing that track. But once you know what it is, you can fight it. Now let's bring this into music production. For us, resistance might show up in a few ways. It could be when you're working on a track and you keep tweaking it, adjusting EQ, adding effects, but never really finishing it. You're stuck in this loop of perfectionism, thinking it's just not good enough yet. Or maybe you've got that fear of releasing your music, fear of what other people might think. You know that voice in your head saying, what if they don't get it? What if that doesn't sound as good as my last track? Or what if it's just not good enough? Or maybe you've got that fear of releasing your music, fear of what people might think. You know that voice in your head saying, what if they don't get it? What if it just doesn't sound as good as my last track? Or what if it's just not good enough? And that is the thing with resistance. It uses fear against us. Pressfield talks about how fear is actually a good thing. It means you care. But the problem is resistance feeds on that fear and blows it up, making it feel like an obstacle you cannot overcome. I'll be real with you. I've faced resistance so many times in the past in my own career. There have been days, even weeks, where I couldn't get past that creative block. And I'd make all these excuses. I'm not inspired today. Or I need to wait until I'm in the right mood. But the truth is, those were just forms of resistance. Looking back, I can see that now. What I've realized is the longer you let resistance win, the harder it gets to push past it. I've had projects that sat unfinished for months. Not because I didn't have the ideas, but because I kept telling myself I wasn't ready. But I was ready. I just had to sit down and do the work. So how do you overcome resistance? Well, that is the heart of the war of art. Pressfield says you have to turn pro. What does that mean? It means treating your craft like a job. No more waiting for inspiration. No more letting fear hold you back. You show up every single day. Turning pro means you can commit to the work even when it's hard. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when resistance is screaming in your ear, you fight through it. You can do the work. That's the only way to push past resistance. And here's the thing, resistance is strongest right when you're about to make a breakthrough. If you're feeling resistance, that means you're probably on the edge of something great. So don't give up. Let's get practical for a second. Here are a few ways you can start beating resistance in your music production today. Number 1, set a schedule. You wouldn't miss a meeting at your day job, right? So don't miss time in the studio. Set aside dedicated hours to produce and stick to it. Number 2, start small. If sitting down to finish a whole track feels overwhelming, just start with a 10-minute session. Open up your DAW and just work on one element. Maybe it's the kick drum or the melody. Starting is half the battle. Number 3, embrace perfection. Remember, perfectionism is just resistance in disguise. No track is ever going to be 100% perfect, and that's okay. Get it to 90% and move on. You'll learn more by finishing tracks than by endlessly tweaking them. Number 4, release your work. Don't be afraid to put your music out there. Sure, it might not be perfect, but every release is a step forward. The feedback you get will help you grow faster than sitting on unreleased tracks ever will. So the next time you feel resistance creeping in, take a moment to recognize it. Don't let it stop you. The best producers out there aren't the ones who never feel resistance. They're the ones who push through it, who show up and do the work day in and day out. I highly recommend you grab a copy of The War of Art. It's one of those books that will not only change how you think about creativity, but also how you approach your work as a music producer. Trust me, it's worth the read. And if you're facing resistance right now, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and let's chat about it. We've all been there. And the more we support each other, the stronger we get. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, share this with another producer, and don't forget to subscribe for more music production tips and mindset strategies. Let's conquer resistance together. Peace.